Hey guys, and welcome back to the Duel Links Entertainment YouTube channel. Today we have a KC Cup video. This is our first type of these that are going on the YouTube channel. And today we are going to do top 5 tips for the KC Cup. And I'm joined by Circus, and our special guest today is Negative1. He is the global rank 1 player for the November KC Cup and the ranked number 3 player for the February 2020 KC Cup. Neg, what's up?
Hey, what's good? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And, we're trying to familiarize the people on YouTube with the members of our community a lot. So, Negative1, you can tell by his credentials, amazing player, and we'd love to have him on the show.
Well, and I think winning a KC Cup's pretty easy, right?
Just another Tuesday.
Right, just since only one person gets to do it. So a lot of people complain the KC Cup, it's a grind, it's too much, it's not worth it. But we're thinking if we just kind of give you the talk about the tips that Neg uses to when he plays in the KC Cup, maybe you're not going to win the KC Cup, but
maybe you do really well.
You know? Right, you can get your top 100 or something like that. So we're hoping with these tips you can do your best and get those awesome prismatic cards.
That's a fact. That's what you're aiming for. Yep. So what is our first tip from the man, the myth, the legend himself?
So I'd say the first thing is really take care of yourself. So it seems pretty obvious that, don't forget to sleep, don't forget to eat, but some people are like, well, in order to do well in a KC Cup, you have to stay up 72 hours and you have to just know life, the entire thing. And while putting a lot of time is important, you're not going to do well if you're just hungry or if you're just sleep deprived. All these things really hinder your mental performance. And when you can't play well, just playing more times while you're just throwing games, it's not going to help. So that's the first one.
Right,
and that'll lead into one of our later points.
And the picture on the screen is actually an after shot from somebody that they won the KC Cup, right? But I wouldn't advise having a steady diet of cigarettes and monster drinks.
Yeah.
So I guess there's both paths, right? You can go the healthy path and take care of yourself, or you can do the dark side here and go cigarettes and monster drinks.
Yeah. I don't. If he keeps going like that, I'm not sure how many KC Cups he can play.
Right.
Oh gosh.
All right, the second one.
But yeah. Don't forget to clear your head sometimes. Some people they're overwhelmed with what's going on and they just don't know what to do. And sometimes it's important to step back from the game and take a break. I know the November KC Cup. There was a point where I was very nervous and instead of just grinding away, I decided that the right choice was to take a step back and walk outside, get some fresh air. So
that probably does a lot more for you than you think. Just to change the scenery a little bit. Just gonna
because if you're thinking about it as this huge thing, you really are grinding for number 1. No doubt that has taken toll on your mental, even just after one day. So yeah, it's good to take breaks, clear your head.
Yeah, and while you're clearing your head, you can also take time to really analyze all of the stuff that's going on, because while you're playing the games, it's kind of hard to look at the bigger picture, but while you're separated, you can put more thought into it.
Right, and you have a lot of things to think about over the course of the 3-day event. What deck you're going to be playing at what time, what you're seeing a lot of the time. Also to get you the most points at different points.
All right, and number 3
is prepare your decks. So you'll see or you'll hear a lot of top players, they'll mention they test with other top players or with their friends. And this is essentially finding what decks you think will be good for the KC Cup and preparing those to be as good as possible, you know? You wouldn't expect to just like do well in a sporting event if you just like never played the sport. So this goes for KC Cup. If you don't know what you're gonna run in the KC Cup, if you just go in blindly, it's not gonna be. You're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Right. So do you like? I'm going to start out with deck A, but if I start running into something I'm not prepared for, or if I run it like I'm prepared to switch decks at this point and go to deck B because I'm seeing a lot of whatever.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Like knowing when the meta shifts, what are you gonna play? Because you can have a good idea of what it's gonna be early on, but no, you don't know what's going to happen because there's always like something unknown, you know? You're not going to be able to play and like know every strategy. So you have to be willing to like have a backup option in case the deck that you start with is not good at like different times.
Well, that's a part of the event, right? That a lot of people may not know about or they may not take into account when playing the KC Cup is that the meta does change at certain times. You know, the best deck on day 1 is not always the best deck on day 2 and 3. People are always changing their decks to meet a certain need, right? If you need to win consistently, or you need to win fast, or you need to win to counter a certain deck that has been like absolutely dominating. So that's kind of like why you have to prepare your deck. You have to be prepared for those times. You don't want to take a big point dive because you're prepared for something.
Yeah. And speaking of preparation, I think that really goes into the fourth point, which is play what you know. So if you don't know a deck but you think it's good, just switching to it might not be the right choice. So like I think Crystron's is a good example of a deck that can beat a lot of decks. But if during KC Cup you haven't played Crystron's before, but you think it's the right choice, switching to Crystron's is a terrible idea because there's just a lot of information you got to know in order to play that deck well. And just like picking it up is not going to be the right choice. So Crystron's is the right deck to play at some point. You might want to play a different deck that you know how to play that may still perform well.
Because I remember you talking about getting ready for KC Cups and stuff, and like you'll play a deck 100 times, right? Like testing a deck 100 times before you'll do anything with it.
Yeah. So I think during November, I played Sabres. I played that a ton because I thought it was the best deck, and I really wanted to know everything about it. So I wanted to be comfortable playing the deck in any situation. So if I'm playing against Black Queens, against Dark Lords, or a mirror match, it doesn't matter because I already have the experience in those matchups. So I'm comfortable knowing what I can do against my opponent.
And the deck on the screen, I know we're going to get some flack for it. This was the November 2019 deck. So yes, there are 3 Cosmic Cyclone and 3 Palaces in it at the same time. But yeah,
this is what got number 1. This is what got our boy Neg1 the number 1 in November.
Yeah. All right, and what's the last one? The most important one, right?
Yeah, probably the one that people don't recognize as like a legitimate advice is don't tilt. So what you hear a lot from people is that they'll play and then they'll get mad and then they'll do something, they'll make a mistake, what have you, and then they get very angry about like losing. And then from there, they'll lose and they'll lose and they'll lose even more, and they tilt so far down.
Oh no, yeah, like we can't tell you how many people we've had on the show.
Yeah,
and just like they're like,
the horror guys, stories.
It was going great. I was at 70K, but then I tilted down to 40K, and I'm like, oh, nice.
I think we had someone that was at like 50 and went all the way down to 0, and then had to start going back up. It was
yeah, we've known quite a few people who just have had Pretty bad tilt sprees.
Yeah, when do you stop,
Yeah.
Meg? When do you know, like, if because you're playing at the top, right? And it's like, if I lose twice in a row, do I stop, or how do you
Uh,
decide that?
well, tilting is really just a product of not knowing what you're doing, which seems like an insult, but like really, if you're tilting, it's because you're not paying attention to like the game. You're letting your anger just you're letting your anger control you. It's really just the dark side of dueling.
Dark side.
All right,
Oh,
bringing in the
gosh.
Star Wars. I love it.
Yeah, so like the problem with just tilting is that you get mad and then you play worse and then you get even more mad because you're playing worse.
Right.
And it's just like a cycle in and of itself. Slowly but surely you're just nose diving in points.
So that's where you got to do the clear your head thing.
Yeah,
Yep,
so this
you gotta
ties
go
back. This ties back to a lot of the previous points. If you're tilting, just take a moment, step back. Or if you're tilting, go back to what you know. Like, what happens when people tilt is like they'll see another deck that they didn't prepare for. It's doing well. They don't think it should do well, or like they see it. Oh, this deck is always opening this combo. Oh, it's always doing this or that. You know, like. But in
And then they'll try to
reality,
mimic
it's
it,
like,
you know.
yeah, the tilt is making you think that it always does that, but you should really, take a step back and like realize what's going on, or you should not be just giving into the tilt. You should play what you understand and what you know and like stick to basics, don't get mad, and power through.
It sounds easy, right? But when you're like, I got to get that top 100, it starts messing with you.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the harder things to do, but once you do master just like not tilting, it changes how well you perform significantly.
Yeah, you're just playing with a clear head, and it's like, I lost, it's no big deal. I can get them next time.
For sure.
All right. Well, hopefully this kind of stuff will help you guys meet your goals in the KC Cup. Not everybody can get number one. It might be me. It might be Kamel. You never know. Probably not. But
it could be you.
It could be you. But hopefully it helps you, meet your goals. And I'm always listening for the prismatic cards myself, so hopefully that's what you're going for too. And if you get that gold icon or a silver icon, that's just that much better, right?
Oh, and so Neg, what are you feeling for this KC Cup?
In like deck wise, or how I'm gonna
yeah, deck wise.
I think
Spoilers.
I mean, I've played Sabres in the past 2 KC Cups, but I think Sabres might be the right choice again.
No.
As funny as it sounds. But I also think Thunder Dragons could be good, and there's a few other decks that are pretty fast and pretty strong. So we'll see.
Well, guys, you heard it from the man himself. Let us know what you think is going to be strong in this KC Cup. Let us know what you're going to be playing. And how do you guys deal with the KC Cup? What do you go through? Do you guys tilt? And yeah, that should be it from us. Check out in the description our Discord, Twitter, Twitch. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube as well. Yeah, we'll definitely have some stuff out for the KC Cup after its completion. We'll talk to whoever we can talk to, and
we'll be talking to number one global -1 after he wins the April.
the 2-time.
Yep.
I'm gonna try for it.
All right. Well, peace out, guys. See you later.
Yeah.
Where were we? I completely forgot.
Oh God.
I'm not really sure.
The dark side of Duel Links.